know what you want to do right now? You want me to read you a fanfiction, so that's what's going to happen. The world is full of different beliefs, with different gods to give the power of nature or form in each of its occurrences. Each god emerged from each individual belief, acknowledged each other, and know what they do. But do they acknowledge the very existence of a god from another belief? Do they even know they exist? The waves gently caressed the land at Athens as light shined on the city, seemingly making it glow. On a hill just outside the city limits was a figure of a man leaning against a tree, monologuing to himself. The famed city of Athens, named after Athena herself, as they turned their back on Poseidon. A grin spread across the man's face as he chuckled. Surely this will make the perfect battleground for an old grudge. 37 ships, that's a new record, Poseidon said to himself as he sat at his throne deep below the sea. Only 7 survived my trial across the sea last year. Seems I need to make the waves bigger. The mortal ships are more durable. A sudden roar of thunder caught his attention, and he sighed to himself. There's only one kind of thunder that could reach my depths, he said to himself before grabbing his trident and heading off to Mount Olympus. Upon arrival at Mount Olympus, Poseidon heads for the source of the falling lightning spears to his brother Zeus. Zeus himself paused at the sight of Poseidon before launching one last lightning bolt onto the earth below. "Poseidon, my brother, what brings you to Mount Olympus?" he asks. "I was answering your summon," Poseidon replied. "Did you not want to speak with me?" Zeus howled in laughter. "My apologies, brother," he replied. "I must have accidentally summoned you while I was demonstrating my power to the mortals below." "Why am I not surprised?" Poseidon replied. "I will be on my way then." "Wait," Zeus interrupted. "Before you go, there is a matter I must bring up now that you are here. Be warned, brother, for I have seen the strange oddities throughout the land mortal, not caused by the other gods. Winds bring destruction in an unusual manner. The land and its people decay in a manner most unsettling, and even lightning strikes without my command. That is most unsettling news. But surely the occurrences must be the other gods doing," Poseidon replied. "Perhaps a prank, seeing as how the very thing you command is involved. I must take my leave." Now where were we? Poseidon asked himself as he returned to his domain before spotting a great and majestic ship docked at Athens. Surely such a ship is worthy of a truly challenging trial, he thought to himself. Patiently, he waited before the ship set sail into the sea, unknowing of the trial it was to be brought into. Poseidon began by mixing the wave, slowly making it lose its course. "Now let's make things interesting," Poseidon said to himself as he thrust his trident high and creating waves high enough to topple the tallest buildings of Athens, but the ship sailed through seemingly unhurt. Surprised by the lack of damage, Poseidon stirred his trident in cone fashion, creating a whirlpool in front of the ship before it got caught. The ship followed the current and came ever more closely towards the center, and in the moment that the ship was caught on point, Poseidon created a giant wave rivaling the height of Mount Olympus before it crashed down on the ship, sinking it to the depths. Pleased with his work, Poseidon turned to return to his throne, but stopped short at the sight of a majestic ship rising from the depths and continued its sailing as though nothing happened. "What trickery is this?" he asked himself. "No mortal ship could survive what I put it through." Tempted as he was, he chose against calling upon the Kraken and turned to Athens. "Mocking me, are you?" he growled under his teeth. The majestic ship continued its way into a narrow channel, treacherous not for its structure, but for the creature that resides in it. As the ship sailed, a fog seemed to roll in and cover the land, and the laughter of a child echoed through the channel. In a moment's notice, 4 black, scaly tentacles tipped with the head of dogs emerged from the depths and tore into the ship before bringing it down into the depths. But the attack was in vain as the ship simply emerged from the waters and continued on its way. One of the dog-headed tentacles rose and grabbed the ship, dragging it back as a little girl emerged from the waters and examined the ship. From below the deck of the ship, an old man, feeble and how he survived the attack was remarkable. The old man spoke. "Scylla, is it not?" "Who wants to know?" Scylla asked with curiosity. "No one special," the old man replied. "Just an old man who wonders why you attacked his ship." "Hello, horror of the deep," Scylla replied. "Is it fun to be the stupidest mortal?" "Oh, forgive me," the old man replied. "I had no idea Poseidon had a pet." "What did you say?" Scylla roared. "Surely that is what you are," the old man asked. "Poseidon seemed to think so, if he needs to weaken ships, so that you may have the leftovers." Scylla growled at the old man as he continued. "Of course, he wouldn't want you to know after all. He barely touched this ship. Perhaps he wants to starve his pet." "I think I'll eat you now," Scylla said as the 4 tentacled dogs rose ready to strike. "Of course, yes. Take your anger out on the feeble man," the old man replied. "Poseidon would surely be amused." "I am not entertainment," Scylla roared. "Then why are you a second-rate god in the sea?" the old man asked, his voice having changed to a younger one. "No one fears a god that doesn't have the power to overpower another god. Even now, we mortals barely fear Poseidon, let alone you. Athens is far beyond the need of fear," Scylla hissed. "I'll give you something to fear," she shouted before tossing the ship away and making her way to Athens. The ship itself landed harshly on the land, and the old man tumbled out. But rather than crying out in pain, he howled with laughter. "This is getting better and better," he said to himself before his appearance changed to one of a young man. "Let's go watch the triple threat." Athena stood on a hilltop, taking the moment to admire the brilliance of the city of Athens before she would resume her patrol of the city's borders. "It's been quiet around here," she said to herself. "Maybe I'll cut today's patrol short and greet my worshippers." With a smile now on her face, Athena took a step towards the city before being stopped by a giant wave that led in front of her. Taking a battle stance, she raised her shield and prepared for an attack, but was instead met with the glare of an angry Poseidon. "Try to make a fool of me, will you?" Poseidon spat. "Come again?" Athena asked. "You gave the mortals an unsinkable ship to mock me," Poseidon accused. "I have done no such thing," Athena replied. "You know very well we do not meddle in mortal affairs. If they made such a ship, then they've clearly made a technological advancement." Poseidon laughed. "No such evidence has shown this to be true. That ship wasn't even at the city's port when I left. I was not gone long enough to not notice such a ship make port, unless it appeared out of magical power, and only a god can use such power to make such a vessel." "I assure you, Poseidon, I have nothing to do with that ship," Athena replied sternly. Poseidon was about to retort when a loud crash was heard. The two turned to the source and saw the city aflame, with a tentacle beast roaming through and leaving destruction in its wake. "Poseidon, what have you done?" Athena shouted. "You didn't need to attack the city." "I have nothing to do with that," Poseidon shouted back before the echo of little girls' laughter was heard. "Do you fear me now, mortals?" The voice roared with laughter. "Is that Scylla?" Athena asked before looking at Poseidon. "So, you bring in the child to fight your battles? You coward!" Poseidon was about to defend himself, but was cut off as he had to dodge Athena's spear. Poseidon retreated to the city to find out what Scylla was up to, with Athena in tow. Scylla shot her magic into various buildings as her dogs tore into the walls and ate civilians. She laughed at the mortals' horrified faces as they ran for their lives, whilst others prayed for salvation. A few even tried to fight back, but alas, it was in vain, as one of the dogs' heads simply saw them as an easy meal. Scylla looked upon the tallest building in Athens and placed her hand on her lips in thought. "Wow, what a big structure! The bigger the things I destroy, the more respect I'll get." Sending two of her dogs to the base of the structure, they squeezed it tightly in an attempt to use its weight against itself. Scylla paused at the sight of a statue of Athena nearby before sending one of her dogs to tear it off the ground and bring it up to her. "Oh, look at me! I'm Athena! I fight for honor!" she mocked. "Well, let's see what your city thinks of its horror." Scylla threw the statue into the structure and punctured the base, causing it to topple over as she laughed. Poseidon arrived to see Scylla toss the statue into the structure. "Scylla, what in the name of my brother are you?" He was effectively cut off as he had unknowingly stopped in the path of the falling structure and had it land on him. Scylla herself looked around after hearing her name, but she shrugged as she could not see the source of her caller. What she did see, however, was Athena rapidly approaching and ready to fight. "Oh, look who's here," Scylla said cheerfully before her voice turned threatening. "Just in time for me to destroy you and show these mortals true fear." "You will pay for this senseless and cowardly attack," Athena declared before scolding herself. "Having Poseidon distract me with nonsense, I should have seen it coming. Wait, Poseidon is here? Where is he?" In that instant, Poseidon rose from the rubble of the structure that had landed on him. "What is the meaning of your actions, Scylla?" Poseidon asked, as he towered over her pillar of water. "Meaning?" Scylla asked innocently before laughing. "To show you that I am no one's pet." Two of Scylla's dogs rose through the pillar of water and toppled Poseidon off of it, before sending another dog to strike him down, but not before Athena bashed away with her shield, sending her flying to the edge of the city. "I told you," Poseidon said as he rose from the ground. "Forgive me, I hastily made conclusions when I saw my city in danger," Athena apologized as they both turned to the now furious Scylla. "Two against one?" she asked. "It's not fair for you. I'll kill you both slowly."